of 2017. This is after I left Virginia and before Natalie was killed. Now, you probably haven't noticed, but it's time and date stamped. I got a hold of Riley to let him know, ask him why he was sending me fucked up messages in my emails. Turned out it was just another one of those fake accounts. At first, it was just random names that they were picking. There was a few of them that seemed kind of similar to people that I knew, and I wasn't sure if it was a fake account they made. Like Desiree Leonard, for example. She makes a lot of fucking accounts. And she has like 6 different last names that she uses. So it's not easy to tell. When people accuse me of making dozens of fake accounts to harass Natalie, wrong answer. Her friends, and her family made dozens of fake accounts to harass me. Just like the harassing phone calls that I get. Just like the restricted phone calls I get. And the people harassing me online. They don't care what the truth is. The cops know what the truth is. They fucked up, but they're cops. Nobody cares. Between a cop and a homeless person, no contest. The homeless person must be guilty because he doesn't have a badge or a gun. There's a black trans woman. She started off life as a woman, then transitioned to a man. And when men told her how dangerous it is to be a man and that she does need to look out, some of those guys, she assumed that it was a threat. Then she got pulled over by the cops and they pulled guns on her. Nasty. Sorry about that. Anyway, Riley Johnson. I got a hold of him because I was wondering why he was sending me hateful shit. Now, I was able to try to track it down because a lot of the people that were sending me those were from places like Virginia. I looked up the names, tried to figure out who these people were. What's the connection? When I saw one that was familiar to me and it said Riley Johnson, I wanted to see if it was the Riley Johnson I knew. Why is it that he was harassing me? Why was he calling me a motherfucker? I never fucked his mom. Turned out it wasn't him. He didn't think nothing of it. For him, it was just one person using his name, no big deal. But now you get to see that I've got 7 or 8 Maria Long profiles that people keep sending at me. I got a bunch of Rhonda Knudsen Rust profiles as well that keep sending friend requests. I know her daughter, Nicole. So I asked her about the situation. Anyway, I was able to get into some of my emails and go back and look through evidence like I've been doing for 6 years. In the process of trying to show the truth in this situation, I'm also forced into situations that are unsafe, where I'm stuck homeless. Trying to turn in crimes to the cops. They always get condescending or talk over me. Even if they talk nice, but many of y'all don't get that. You don't see the difference. You don't hear the difference because you don't pay attention. A lot of women wouldn't know the first thing about actually dealing with a cop because cops treat women differently than men. No matter who started the argument or who started getting physical first, 80% of the time the man is getting arrested. It doesn't matter what a woman does or what a man does. They can do exactly the same things. You guys want to say, oh, well, it's horrible that 17% of our population is black and they account for 24% of those killed by police. Well, how about the fact that 0.18% of our population is homeless and they account for 81% of those incarcerated, 60% of those killed by police last year alone. 60%. So when you're talking about black folks saying, oh, well, you see the rate that we're being killed. No, that's specifically black men. Specifically black men. When it comes to gang stalking, Natalie and her friends and her family had experience doing this before. This ain't their first rodeo or the first time they've gaslighted somebody. It ain't the first time that they came together to try to destroy a victim's life. That includes Natalie Marie Bollinger's. I get that her possessive boyfriend's possessive father and jealous sister, I get that they had the majority of the control over Natalie. She liked to talk about how she could take care of herself, but look how she took care of herself. When she needed a rescue, she said it almost the same way as Jamie. Jamie said, I need a hero. That's what Jamie said, is I need a hero. And she did. I am the man that I needed as a child. I don't know anybody else who's willing to do anything more than just talk about what they do. I got tired of sick and tired of listening to people talk about how they would kill pedophiles. No, they're not. I said I'd turn them in, and I meant it. And you see how turning in pedophiles and child molesters doesn't work. Why? Because the family does more to hide the family pedophile than to actually help the victim. You try to hide the fact that sick Uncle Rick fucked your daughter. Or in Natalie's case, sick Uncle Troy and sick Daddy Ted. On the bright side, I choose to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And you choose to harm me because I was born with a penis. You guys have already seen the ones from Veronica Bruce. Only a few days after this. After Riley Johnson, that fake profile got a hold of me. And I got a hold of Riley Johnson. You know, that was so many of these that I had been sent. By this time, Tim Beeson had been threatening me and harassing me for months. I was able to verify him through his Facebook profile because that's what he ultimately resulted in threatening me by. And in that one, instead of the phone calls where he said he was Natalie's boyfriend, starting all the way back in it might have started in December of 2016 or January of 2017. I'll have to ask Miss Peaches, but then again, she's not friends with me because her drug dealer, Blaine McCrelius, wanted to be a punk, and she didn't want to get cut off from her drug contacts. Fuck it. On the bright side, at least I told on Blaine McCrelius too. I don't owe it to you to take your abuse. I don't owe it to you to keep my mouth shut. And I don't owe it to you to go running around unprotected. The problem is being forced into homelessness, being forced away from my friends and family, and them making zero effort to understand how this changes somebody's life. Meanwhile, they're pissed off that I posted up the truth about them and their involvement, as if I'm a horrible person for telling the truth. Well, a lot of these people didn't pay attention to the fact that I eventually learned how to record. And I had been lied to by enough of my friends that I started recording the words coming out of their mouth. Oh, sure you care. But when somebody is being abused, your idea of stopping abuse is to tell them to ignore it. What a fucking piece of shit. Anyway, Riley Johnson is just one of many, many fake accounts that began almost immediately after leaving Virginia. It wasn't internet accounts at first. Matter of fact, at first it was a shitty phone call from Maddie Boa before I was even out of Virginia. Sorry, shitty messages. She wasn't willing to hear my side. She just wanted to treat me like shit, as most women do. I'm not an attractive man. I'm not a tall man. I'm not a rich man. Which means that I'm the man that you go to when you want manual labor. I'm not the guy that you date. And I'm going to tell you a big secret here. That's a good thing because I think your vagina's as gross as a penis is. I think that stuff that comes out of either one of us is gross. It's the consistency of snot, and that's disgusting. But then you want to project onto me that I must be a pervert because I have a dick. I have to do desperate things because people don't care about me. You get to see how my friends treated me and how they would have treated a woman in that situation. Entirely different. A woman is assumed to be the victim, and a man is assumed to be guilty. And nobody cares to look at the evidence, whatever it takes to victimize the man because you assumed his guilt. Well, with Natalie Marie Bollinger, you guys assumed wrong. But rather than admit you fucked up, you want to force it all on me and pretend that I'm the one that forced Natalie to cut on herself. Like I'm the father that raped her. Or the mother who chose alcohol and abusive men over her. Nope, I didn't choose any of that over Natalie. I didn't choose any of that over her sister. I didn't choose any of that over Maddie Boa. Men are not allowed to have emotions. We're not allowed to express emotions. No matter what, you're going to assign your monstrous bullshit onto us. Just because we have a penis, we must be guilty. You see how many police officers took part in this? How the majority of them were men. And how all they had to do is press false charges and I couldn't turn them in. That's all they had to do to cut me off. Not that it mattered. For a whole year before Natalie was killed, not one of my friends actually gave a fuck. Joanna Taylor Smith made empty promises, but you see how she treats men. Yes, your pretty white girl words are gonna fix it, aren't they? What a crock of shit. Seriously. You know what we should do? We should force every woman, while she's still in high school, to become a man for a week. Just 1 week. Be forced to be a cross-dresser before they pass judgment on men simply because we exist. We have taught every woman in America that it is okay for her to be a narcissist, that it is okay if she doesn't get her way right when she wants it, like Jamie Curtis, Veronica Bruce, or Katie Cahill. Take it down now! Also, all three of these women wanted to pull the whole, well, you just didn't get what you want right when you wanted it. You're right. I didn't get what I wanted right when I wanted it. Or when I needed it. What I got was empty promises or victimized for telling the truth. Meanwhile, all these women who wanted to play head games for literally months, to not come forward, to promise that they would, well, with the exception of Jamie, my God, she's fucked in the head. On the bright side, I showed that I told the truth. Why are you so offended by this? You're offended that a man would ever possibly try to defend himself? That's fucking sick. You want to talk about how women are victimized? Women are more victimized than men? How men must deserve this because they were born with a penis? You don't pay attention to the fact that the person who is most likely to murder your children is the mother. Out of everyone in the family, who is the most likely to kill their children? The mother. Who is the most likely to be physically violent with their children? It's the mother. Meanwhile, men only win custody in 10% of custody cases. There's a lot of druggies out here that want to take advantage of people. They don't want to do anything except drugs. And they want other people to pay for it. There's a lot of women out here on the streets that feel entitled. Feel like it's owed to them because they're a female. That if they rip a male off who's homeless, well, he deserves it because other men had harmed her in her life. Whether it was real or not, it doesn't make a difference. How many of y'all remember that first video that came through where a woman was talking about how men saying hello is perverted? And what did she do? She dressed up to the nines. Those of you younger folks, what that means is that she dressed to get looked at. She wore a bright red dress. Dressed up like she was going to a nightclub or a fancy dinner at a fancy restaurant or a date with the motherfucking president. Then she walks through a poor neighborhood with a bunch of homeless folks. And the worst that she could get out of those homeless folks was a hello. Hi. Hello. And that's when we got woke to the problems of women. Like, oh my God, a woman cannot dress to be looked at without people saying hello. Let me tell you something. I know that if I paint my face like a fucking clown, do my hair up so it's all curly and poofy, get a special dye, hell, I'd look like Ronald McDonald. Nope. I'd look like a white homie to clown with a beard. But I guarantee you, I'd get looked at. If I put on eyeliner like a metrosexual, try to make myself look like I have longer eyelashes. You know, that's one of the most extreme variants in women finding you attractive. It's strange that a man who wears, well, not specifically eyeliner, but mascara, that crap that extends your eyelashes and makes them darker and makes them more prevalent. It's also thick and you can feel it. How do I know? I've worn makeup. I've tried makeup. I've tried dresses. I've tried high-heeled shoes. There's a saying that I remember that, although it's not exactly true, because I don't find the word sexy is used properly in this connotation or context. But the saying is there's nothing more sexy than sensible shoes. Do you know why that is? Because she's not trying too hard. She's not trying to actually harm herself to get you to look at her. If she's wearing high-heeled shoes, any of you who have ever worn high-heeled shoes, Jesus, dear God Almighty, that is something that should be classified as a torture device. Am I wrong, ladies? Should high-heel shoes be classified as a torture device? Why would you torture yourself to get someone else's attention? If that is what is required to get their attention, they are not fucking worth it. When we look through and we see what women want in a man, there's all these women who are complaining that men won't date them, and they think they're drop dead gorgeous, and so they are owed a good-looking rich boyfriend. Men don't want you. Men don't want you. Oh, really? You mean the 1% of men who are rich enough and good looking enough for you. The 1% of men that you want to go for. One of these things that I was reading today, a woman was complaining that there's a guy in her company and he has the same position as her and she has a crush on him because he's got it all. He's headed for being the CEO of a company. He's only 24 years of age. He's right around her age. He's got a girlfriend that is literally a model. She's sweet and kind and intelligent and confident. And as we all know, confidence does come very heavily from your looks. If you're good looking and you've got men throwing themselves at you all the time, you're confident you can get the man you want. When you're a good looking man and you've got women throwing themselves at you all the time, you're confident you can get the woman you want. But when you're just average, you got to wait for somebody to get sick and tired of chasing after Cindy Crawford or Pamela Anderson or whoever the new one is that's supposed to be all pretty. I don't fucking keep up with it because I don't fucking care. I want to be treated like a goddamn human being, not like I'm a fucking walking rape machine. Oh, I exist, so therefore I must be a rapist, according to you. And your feminist views? No, that's not feminism. Feminism is about equality, not oppressing others. Not taking out every slight that happened to your ancestors on people today over crimes that were never committed against you. Having your friends and family create fake account after fake account to threaten and harass and intimidate me is not okay, no matter who you are, no matter what drugs you're on. There's people wanting to make excuses for Robert Franklin Warnick threatening to kill me. How many times I tried to turn him in, and did they ever give a shit? No, they didn't. How many times did I record Robert Farnsworth just at the First Christian Church here in Tillamook? At least 6 or 7 times just at that one church, going after me or other people. He decided to target me because I stuck up for other people. People use the excuse of he's mentally ill. Oh, so magically with him, the term mentally ill is used to say that he should be allowed to do those things when he's actually violent and actually making false accusations. I didn't have to make false accusations. People fucked up on their own. People did fucked up things by their own decision. And people like Caitlin Tatum showed me that because I'm a male, I don't matter. If this would have happened to one of her female friends, she would have done something right away because us girls got to work together, right? Isn't that what you say? Right or wrong, you still gonna do it? There's been women that I knew that absolutely hated other women. But when they wanted to manipulate a man or destroy a man's life because he didn't do what she wanted right when she wanted it, yeah, she'll go to those women that she can't stand and try to get them involved. And they're more likely to get involved, too. Jamie Curtis never had anything nice to say, ever, about Tracy Hodges. But one day, Jamie told me, this is while I was still a virgin, by the way. I told her if I'm not good enough for her when she's sober, she can't have me when she's drunk. And she was sober, and she said, well, Sean, I'm sober, and we're going to have sex tonight. I'm going to drink this tequila. And she did. And then she went outside topless and danced around in the rain with no top, drunk as a skunk. We came back in. She laid down on her ottoman and started taking her clothes off. I just had to go to the bathroom. And wouldn't you know it, I zipped myself up. And I went back out there, and she was in just her underwear. And I just didn't have it in me to tell her that I had just sliced the side of my manhood open, and it was wrapped in toilet paper to stop the bleeding. She was telling me, if you were any slower, you'd be the Virgin Mary. Well, I had to go to work. I was working in a place called Windsor in Colorado. They were building a windmill factory. And I had to be back for work. But then, like Jamie, she used to reach out to me and get a hold of me, and we'd talk. But I was in Windsor, and I was like, you know what? This has been going on for a while. Jamie is playing head games with all these other dudes and with me. I just don't want to lose my best friend. So I went back to explain this to Jamie. Drove back, and she had Tracy Hodges come over, and they had a conversation like I wasn't even there. It was the most heartless thing. Talking about how they were gonna go to Sydney and get some dick because guys in Chapel are lame and shit like that. Like, fuck, you know? Life happens. Just because you didn't get any dick doesn't mean that it's okay to treat me completely like shit. If I don't put out, that doesn't make me a bad person, and it doesn't make it okay to get fucking vindictive. But that's exactly what Jamie did. She was angry because she wanted to get laid, and I fucked it up. I didn't do it intentionally. It's not like I went, hey, I got a great idea. I'm going to zip my dick up. But you know what that turned into? That turned into people in Chapel, Nebraska treating me like shit. Because Jamie was playing a lot of guys at once. The reason she was so pushy with me is because I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in sex. I just didn't want to lose my best friend, and I didn't want to lose the boy. But that's exactly what happened. Jamie, because I broke the seal, so to speak, and I let Hayden McCall know what was going on with Jamie and the head games and all that. She decided she was going to start dating James Payton because he was big enough to scare most of them off. I don't scare easily, and really, I care more about the boy than I do about Jamie. Her vagina is not that special, and as one of the few guys that never tried it in Chapel, Nebraska, I can say it was so not special that I never tried it. When I was willing to, it's because I didn't want to lose my best friend. And the way that her and Tracy Hodges treated me made me realize it was already too late. Jamie wasn't my best friend no more. She was one of those idiots. One of those people who showed that it was about conquest. Well, fine, you got what you wanted. Can we go back to being friends now? No? On the bright side, though, with Jamie Curtis, when she moved out of town, I didn't have any more problems with her stalkers. Well, I can't very well call them stalkers, can I? These are men that she intentionally led on. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper too. And no victim left behind.